My body, my choice. It's 4 words that have become the ultimate anthem of our culture. And it sounds empowering. It sounds like the very definition of freedom and autonomy. But here's the problem. That phrase only works if you completely misunderstand what a body actually is. If you truly knew what the human body represents, what it reveals about the person and what it means to be human, that phrase wouldn't just sound wrong. It would fall apart completely. Most people today, including a lot of Catholics, have never actually been taught how to see the body. We've been shaped by a culture that views the body as a machine, a tool, or a piece of property. And because we don't have a solid foundation, we default to the narrative being handed to us. We find ourselves saying things like, personally, I wouldn't do it, but I don't think I should tell others what to do. We convince ourselves that this middle ground is a neutral position. We think it's compassionate or reasonable to live in a secular world. But I'm here to tell you that neutrality isn't neutral. It's a contradiction. You cannot say you value life while holding a false understanding of the body. If we call ourselves people of faith, we have to recognize that we've been shaped by a culture that calls abortion healthcare and presents it as a necessity. When we stay neutral, it's a sign that we haven't gone deep enough into what the human person is and what the church actually is teaching about life. So in this video, I'm not here to argue politics or debate parties. I'm here to challenge the very foundation of how you think about your body, about life, and about what it actually means to build a culture of life. Because once you see the body clearly, you don't get to go back. The personal catalyst. I'll be honest with you. I haven't always stood where I'm standing right now. Early on, I don't know what I would have confidently called myself, or if I would have even called myself pro-life. I mean, if anything, I leaned pro-choice. I lived in that comfortable secular space where I thought abortion was absolutely wrong for me, but I didn't feel it was my place or my place to even just concern myself with what anyone else would choose. I thought that was the balanced way to live. I thought it was fair. But when I truly began coming back to my faith, that balanced position started to crack. I was confronted with a question as old as humanity itself. We see it in Genesis when God asked Cain, "Where is your brother?" And Cain famously responds, "Am I my brother's keeper?" The answer the church gave me was a definitive yes. Yes, we are responsible for one another. Yes, we are called to protect what God has created, especially when it is most vulnerable. I realized then that this wasn't about my personal comfort or my preference. It was about truth with a capital T. It was about defending the dignity of a human life created by God. I began to stand firmly for life, but then even at that point, I hadn't gone all the way. I had the head knowledge, but I didn't realize how much deeper the root went until very recently. A few weeks ago, I was invited to the Live Action Young Leaders Summit. Now, I've learned that God doesn't place you in specific rooms by accident. He puts you there to be formed, to be prepared, and to encounter things that force you to grow. I sat in a room with over 2,000 young men and women, all gathered to stand for the dignity of life. And I heard stories that weren't theoretical or political, they were lived. One testimony in particular that shook me was from Anne Ferrens. Anne was conceived through sexual assault. Her mother was told by doctors and by society that she should abort. But her mother chose life anyway. Today, she's alive. She has a voice. She's impacted millions of people. Seeing that conviction and hearing that reality forced me to just pause. It took the issue out of the realm of opinion and placed it directly in front of me as a human reality. It challenged me in a way that I wasn't even expecting. And it made me realize that it's not enough to just be pro-life. We have to understand why we are. And we have to be willing to examine if our beliefs actually align with the truth, the scientific reality. One of the most impactful moments of that summit was seeing in vivid detail how human life actually develops in the womb. They showed an animation of a baby named Oliver, tracking him from the very moment of conception all the way to birth. And what struck me wasn't just the science, it was how undeniable the reality was. Because when you actually watch that progression unfold, you can no longer keep this conversation abstract. You see growth. You see development, you see a human life unfolding exactly as it was designed to. It completely shatters the narrative we've been conditioned to accept, that this is just a clump of cells or something insignificant that we can define however we want. When you see it, you realize we aren't talking about a theory, we're talking about a human life. And that forces a deeper question. Does what you believe actually line up with reality?